He's doing it. He's doing it. He's doing it. The mad lad. It's Liberation Day. I hope you feel liberated.
President Trump set to announce a sweeping new round of tariff sales taxes that will have a huge impact on consumers and the economy. Rebecca Jarvis is going to break that down after this report from Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Well, after weeks of uncertainty and anxiety, in just hours here, President Trump is finally set to unveil his most aggressive tariffs yet. He says they will restore fairness to the global trading system and ultimately grow the U.S. economy. But economists warn American consumers will pay the price. This morning, the country and the world bracing for impact as President Trump prepares to unleash reciprocal tariffs on America's trading partners, what he's calling Liberation Day.
What they do to us, we do to them.
But it remains unclear what exactly the president will announce today. The scope of these tariffs and which countries will be targeted still unknown.
He's with his trade and tariff team right now, perfecting it to make sure this is a perfect.
This is one of my favorite parts of the Trump administration. Aren't you a treat-lite yourself, lol? Yeah, I am. I love treats. But also, if there was a world where, well, first of all, it won't impact me. It doesn't matter. Everybody likes to talk about how much money I spend, but like for how much money I make, the amount of money I spend is negligible. Okay, so it's not a real issue. I'm being very honest with you. Many people in my financial circumstance will lie to you and be like, "Oh, this is really hitting me hard." Rich people are lying to you when they say that. Okay, that's number one. Number two, as a treat-lite myself, ultimately, if fucking there was a limitation on what kind of treats I could consume that still yielded tremendous bounty for the American working class, I would take that shit in a heartbeat. I don't give a fuck. I've said this before. I would literally dump the fucking Taycan in the goddamn ocean if it meant that we could have walkable cities in Los Angeles and public transit. I would never even look at it ever again. That's it's so stupid. My advocacy revolves around trying to raise taxes on people like myself. This is not like a gotcha at all. Having said all of this, hold on. My garage is called the Ocean. Yeah, I would literally ocean. I was pro trade protection policy facility BYD U9 Speed. Got to try out, and now my treat-lite mind started foaming and shaking. Yeah, I know. Wait, what was I gonna say? What was I talking about? I'm forgetting. Oh, one of my favorite parts about the Trump administration always is like they have the energy of me during finals at school, where it just everything feels haphazard and slapped together last second. It's like they've been talking about implementing these tariffs for months now. Donald Trump said he was going to do it the entire time for like a year before he even before the election, right? Before the actual election day, he was like, tariffs is my favorite word. And it's like, now the time has come. He set himself, he set this hard deadline on himself. And even then they're like, they're working round the clock. They're up late night trying to figure out these tariffs. It's like, bitch, what do you mean they're up late night? This guy's been saying he wanted to do this for a year and a half. Why are they talking about tariffs literally the day before he implements them? Are you guys crazy? What are you talking about? This isn't some bullshit class that you took in college to get an easy A to beef up your overall grade, okay? This is the fucking global economy. This is the entirety of the American economy. And these guys are like, yeah, we're working tirelessly around the clock. We're planning it. It's like, well, maybe you should have planned it before you came out with this idea. This doesn't make any sense. What the hell?
Perfect deal for the American people and the American worker.
The uncertainty is injecting fresh concern into an already jittery stock market, as economists warn American consumers.
More than Biden did in his whole term, though. That is hilarious. Okay, first of all, I love the cope from Republicans. I know this chatter is joking, but like, no, that's not the case. Okay, I'm sorry. If anything, the issue with the Democratic Party is that they don't do enough of this. There's a balance here, okay? Sometimes you do have to break things and move fast and then pick up the pieces afterwards, especially if you're direction is appropriate, especially if your direction is pro labor unions, pro working class, right? The Democrats never do that. That is my problem with them. They never do that. They are genuinely terrified. They endlessly focus test every single minute detail until their plans are basically nothing. And they are so conciliatory. They come to the table they come to the bargaining table pre-bargained. And then they reduce the policy implementation after the fact too. It is one of the most annoying aspects of this. It's one of the most annoying parts of how the Democrats operate. It's one thing that I always say when I'm like, Democrats should do politics like the Republican Party and not the policies of the Republican Party. Okay? I wish they were just like moving fast. Can you imagine Build Back Better is like, oh, look alive, Jack. We're doing an engineering corps. I don't care. Oh, you don't like it? Well, guess what? You'll like it when the potholes are fixed in your neighborhood. You know, that type of shit. That's the energy that I wish Democrats ever had. Of course, Brandon would never be able to do that because he's dead. He's a dead man. He was a cadaver. Okay?
Consumers will bear the brunt of this. Tariffs on imported products are taxes paid by American businesses. Those costs are then passed along to consumers in the form of higher prices on everything from groceries and electronics to cars and clothes. The president insists his tariffs will ultimately boost the economy and encourage manufacturing in the U.S., but it could take years to ramp up production on American soil. The message from the White House:
yes, of course it will take years to ramp up production. And of course there will be growing pains. The problem is the guy that is implementing this is not pro-labor. And therefore, I don't even know what reason he's implementing this for to begin with. It just doesn't make any sense. I suspect he backtracks from the tariff stuff eventually. He's just going to backtrack. Answer my dono, shoe sniffer 42. Write it in the chat instead of donating it. This shit's so funny because like CEOs can take a tiny bit of stagnant millions and not raise our prices. Yeah, that's never going to happen. Let's be real.
have faith.
You should trust what this president did for you in his first term. He effectively utilized tariffs while driving down inflation.
But experts have concluded the tariffs during Trump's first term drove prices up. The president sees these new tariffs as a means of economic redemption, a way to punish countries that he feels treat the U.S. unfairly.
Many countries have taken advantage of us.
He has acknowledged Americans could feel some
I've been avoiding the news. How do I do self-care to stay aware? Wait, what? Okay, dude, I'm not going to answer that question right now. Come on.
short-term economic pain. The big question, how long will it last? Consumers now rattled and racing to make big purchases like cars before the tariffs hit.
This weekend alone, I think we sold and delivered probably about 40 cars, which is 20-30% above.
Yeah, what's funny about this also is that it has led to a short-term boost. Now, obviously, car prices are immediately going to go up. Ironically enough, it's going to go up regardless because of the tariffs, even if their inventory is not diminishing. Like a big chunk of the inventory that they have so far pre-tariffs, they're going to burn out of. But in that process, these guys are going to take advantage of the commotion. They're going to take advantage of the chaos. They're going to pump those numbers to the best of their ability. That's the other side of this, because no one, and I mean no one, cares about their fellow neighbors, okay? They only care about this. Thank you, Perry Plays, for the 10 gifted subs. So it's already, it will have an inflationary effect even before the tariffs are implemented.
Of normal.
In Brooklyn, New York, Robert Samuel decided it wasn't worth the risk to wait.
Yeah, I was going to purchase a car later down the line, but now that it's been updated with these tariff prices affecting us, I decided to come in today and leave with one of them today.
And the president will finally unveil these tariffs here in a Rose Garden ceremony at 4 p.m. after the
But a lot of people buying new cars are rich bastards. Dude, what are you talking about? Think about the entire economy, dude. There's like 330 million people on this in this country. Not every single person that's buying a fucking Honda Civic is a rich bastard. Okay? Like everyone needs a car, unfortunately. It's not. What are you talking about? Oh, Jesus.
markets close. We are told they will go into effect immediately, George.
Okay, Marion, one other thing that's going into effect, these massive layoffs at the Department of Health and Human Services.
George, 10,000 layoffs are now underway at HHS. The move catching many off guard. We saw those long lines yesterday of federal workers outside buildings waiting to learn if they'd been fired. Some showing up only to discover their badges had been cut off. Now, among those fired,
Incredible.
the FDA's top tobacco regulator under.
Incredible work, sir. Thank you so much. Mass layoffs at the mass layoffs at federal agencies, mass price hikes. It's just like it feels like you're just trying to break everything, and not even for some kind of decipherable good purpose where you're going to rebuild it in a way that benefits the needs of the 99%. You're just kind of breaking it. And it doesn't even feel like you're breaking it for capital owners either. It feels like you're breaking it for the sake of breaking it. That's what's so crazy.
Whose leadership teenage tobacco use dropped to its lowest point in a decade, also laid off researchers working on everything from drug use and mental health to reproduction and infertility. And
it's awesome because ideologically, Donald Trump's actions here are, if they weren't so insane, if they were directional, if they were directed at like a specific sector with the intention of like boosting manufacturing in the United States of America, Republicans will still have a hard time defending it because Republicans are free tradists. They love free trade. They defend capital. Capital loves free trade. It is perhaps the greatest way that you can instantly reduce the only malleable aspect of your commodity production that is labor. That's the most malleable part of commodity production. Okay. Unless you find a new sector where there's just like a robust amount of the ingredients that you need to build things, right? Without that, unless like natural resources boost or something, it's pretty set. Like prices prices for just like simply the things that you need to. The raw goods that you need to build shit is set already, okay? Whereas the labor part of this is the most malleable aspect of it. It's the one that you can dominate. It's the one that you can always lower, okay? With technological improvements, you can always reduce the number of people that you have to pay for benefits on. You reduce the potential cost down the line if your workers are getting sick or hurt, and then you have to do additional payouts, right? It is the greatest way to improve your profit margins. Now, this is precisely the reason why it was a massively beneficial move to be able to move manufacturing to a developing country, and to many developing countries, as a matter of fact. It was awesome for the capital owners. They did that. They were so stoked on it. Therefore, it's very difficult for the Republicans on Fox News to defend this move, to defend the tariffs, which, albeit are being done also in a haphazard way. But even if they were done in a directional way, with direct coordination with like labor unions, for example, they still would have a hard time defending it. This is ideologically the exact opposite of what these people believe. They're free trade guys, okay? And the Democratic Party is also permanently on the free trade side of things. It's crazy. It's like a total uniparty position, with the exception of Donald Trump, it seems.
And workplace safety. George.
Okay, Mary Bruce, thanks very much.
I want to complete my thoughts on this. Part of the reason why they're doing tariffs, another signaling of xenophobic nationalism, the underpinning of the entire administration. I mean, that part I kind of get. When you make that argument, I kind of understand it, because like it doesn't make sense otherwise for someone like Donald Trump specifically to be what Project 2025 admits tariffs are a failure, page 801 to 802. Yeah, it's one of the aspects of the Trump administration that like virtually everyone on the right despises. I'm not saying I disagree with you, but what does it matter what the uniparty stance is if we can't point out any real counter movement? What do you mean? He gets to walk a thin line of claiming we're bringing manufacturing jobs back, but then gets to please capital owners by making sure unions are gutted and will have no bargaining power for the few jobs that will now be automated. Yeah, I think if I were to dive into Trump's mind for a brief moment and try to understand where he's coming from, perhaps it is because they want American manufacturing to return because of national security concerns against China. Because if China were to ever, God forbid, shut off the trade faucet to the United States of America, we would collapse. We would collapse overnight. Maybe that's part of the reason. Maybe another part of the reason is because Trump does want to boost the American economy, or at least like jobs, boost American jobs. It's probably the first thing more so than the second thing. What is this? Read the bottom of... As opposed to travel with the kind of non-reciprocal tariffs that American manufacturers often face, the MFN tariff for automobiles applied to the U.S. only 2.5%. In contrast, EU charges 10%, Communist China 15%, Brazil 35%. Similarly, while the U.S. applies an MFN tariff rate of 6.2% on the rice it buys from Malaysia, Malaysia applies an ad valorem equivalent tariff of 40% on rice from the U.S. Meanwhile, European milk producers are shielded by 67% tariffs, while American milk producers benefit only from a 15% tariff on foreign imports. Wait, this seems like they are on board with the challenge one. Unfair and non-reciprocal trade is institutionalized in world trade rules. Communist China. No, this seems like they're on board with it. Non-reciprocal tariff rates under most favored nation rule. Anyway, let's go to 801. Page number 801. Right? That's the one you wanted me to go to. Let's see what they're saying on Project 2025 on this. Repeal the Jones Act, century-old Buy American maritime law that has decimated the U.S. shipbuilding industry. Work with Congress to restore the President's Trade Promotion Authority, which would expedite the negotiation of trade agreements with the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Taiwan, European Union, other allies. Restore the World Trade Organization's dispute resolution process to full strength. Create a successor to the World Trade Organization, assuming that it has been fatally wounded, that is open only to liberal democracies. This would prevent authoritarian countries like China from abusing the organization for their own ends. Oh my God. Adopt a multi-pronged. Yeah, this is all an effort to undermine pre-existing international institutions that America has already used as a fucking as a cum sock, only because like in that process China was able to expertly take advantage of the endless profit-seeking capital owners in the United States of America and develop a competent manufacturing and become the manufacturing hub of the planet. Adopt a multi-pronged China strategy to convince the Chinese government to reform its illiberal human rights and trade policies. Rejoin the TPP, whose 11 members are developing institutional trade norms in an important geopolitical region without U.S. input or involvement. Reorient the proposed Indo-Pacific economics framework for prosperity to focus only on trade issues, which it currently ignores in favor of progressive wishlist policies. Strengthen diplomatic pressure in concert with allies against Beijing's abuses. Encourage cultural and intellectual engagement with the Chinese people, remembering that blue jeans and rock and roll helped win the Cold War. Dude, this is written in such a funny way. You are 75 years old if you think that the Chinese people don't have access to the exact same things that you're talking about right now. That's so stupid. The entire reason why a similar Cold War cannot happen with China as opposed to Russia is because of the intricate ties that we here in the West have with China and vice versa. They buy our shit. They manufacture our shit. They sell our shit. They sell it back to us in ways that the USSR did not do. This is so stupid. The idea that you think you can do cultural imperialism on China when China has eaten up all of the American culture. They love it. They love American culture. They consume it. They're not sheltered from it at all. They consume it. They like it. They enjoy it. But you know what else they enjoy? China's prosperity on the global stage. They definitely enjoy that. Tariff relief. When people try something repeatedly and it still doesn't work, they should stop doing it, especially when the consequences turn out to be just what the conservative economists have long predicted they would be. With tariffs, oops. Oh, fuck. I accidentally clicked on it and skipped all the way out here. God damn it. Okay. We're reading Project 2025, chat. Okay. Tariff relief. With tariffs, the proper reform is not only to get rid of the individual tariffs that have backfired, but also build institutional safeguards against future abuse. We are 5 years into the biggest experiment with tariffs since the Great Depression, and the results are in. The new tariffs raise consumer prices for ordinary Americans by about $1,200 per household every year, and benefit only a small number of special interests. Steel and aluminum tariffs enacted on national security grounds angered allies. Beijing made not a single substantive reform in response to the 4 rounds of tariffs plus an attempted phase 1 agreement. Wait, they spent the past 30 pages glazing Donald Trump's initiatives only to dispute it immediately. This right here is just undermining the past 30 pages of being like, Mr. President is glorious. He is going to do fantastic things by destroying the World Trade Organization, only to rebuild it just for liberal democracies like ourselves. Response to 4 rounds of tariffs was an attempted phase 1 agreement. The Biden admin has left the tariffs in its place and is expanding in the pursuit of progressive policy goals. The first order of business for the new admin that is focused on American workers and consumers is to repeal all tariffs enacted under Section 232. Wait, what? I'm so confused. So they're saying repeal the tariffs? The second order is to require Congress to pass legislation repealing sections 232, 201, and 301. The U.S. Constitution places all taxing authority with Congress and none with the president. Congress used those provisions of law to delegate some of its taxing authority to the president because it was having trouble passing clean tariff legislation in the 60s and 70s. Congress was a problem of collective action in the 1960s. Repeal specific tariffs and put global ones. Ironically enough, specific tariffs are smarter than global tariffs. That's my point. Directional tariffs, in order to boost domestic manufacturing, is smart. It makes sense. It is a long-term good thing. Not to say that like the previous administrations were doing that, for the record. I'm not saying that at all. I don't think that they were doing that. But it's ironic that Trump is, or Project 2025 wants to repeal smarter tariffs, I guess, in comparison, to make it like universal. And I guess my point is, if you sanction everybody, you technically are sanctioning just yourself. If you tariff everybody, you technically are just tariffing yourself. You know? Do you see what I mean? America has caused a secondary market to organically develop as a direct consequence of SWIFT, and not only just SWIFT, but also these sanctions regime that they greatly beefed up from Barack Obama to Donald Trump 1 to Brandon and now Donald Trump 2. They've sanctioned the entire planet, basically. And now they're tariffing the rest. Sanctions for our enemies, the poorest countries in the global south, in order to keep them as poor as possible. And then tariffs for our allies. Okay, then you're just alone. That's it. That's the final process here. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult for these guys, these poor guys, to defend these decisions. Let's take a look at what Fox and Friends had to say about this, you know?
But Moody's comes out and they said that an escalation of the trade war could wipe out 5.5 million jobs and lift unemployment to 7%, and GDP could drop 1.7%. That's if people don't come off it, and Moody's is not for it. But the tariffs will apply, will bring a lot of money in on just the tariff goods. And let's see, the ultimate goal is to bring manufacturing back here. Right. Ro Khanna doesn't think it's going to.
Nothing wrong with tariffs. I'm going to live an exciting life as a smuggler. Now is the age of sail. That's right. The world has yielded tremendous bounty for me. I am a pirate.
Bring manufacturing.
Well, Brian, that is the dream. Keep in mind, this is a gigantic experiment like we've never seen before. You know, on paper, it looks great to the president and his team, who are talking about it would be great to bring jobs back to the United States. But keep in mind, people have got to come over here and build factories, and that takes years. And there's a lot of uncertainty on Wall Street and also in the business community about, okay, this new round of tariffs, how long is it going to last? Are they going to last 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? They've got to be able to plan, and that's why the stock market has been all over the place. That's right. And you know, Jackie, I was.
Oh man, it's just hard. You know, our brave, bold, beautiful president, who always is the best thinker, has the best interests of the wealthy in mind, I promise, and the working class in mind. He's doing his very best. But the problem is, you know, even when he's doing his very best, the market simply doesn't understand. You know, the market moves. The market thinks in decades. Donald Trump thinks in centuries, and that's the problem. And you know, growing pains. It's just growing pains.
Just thinking about that. The president's calling it Liberation Day, but maybe we should call it Libation Day because, you know, Wall Street's all over the place. They might start hitting the soil.
No, that's good. That's good. It's a good thing, right? It's good when market volatility famously is a good thing, right? That's what capital owners love, especially when it's so volatile that you can't even you can't even make like discernible good stock trading decisions.
At 4 o'clock when they finally unveiled this thing. I was
maybe even sooner.
Yeah, that's right. I was reading this morning that apparently, according to the Wall Street Journal, some people in the business community and on Wall Street are still banking on the idea that the White House might actually pull back on the tariffs if something bad happens to the economy. And I know Goldman Sachs.
I love this, dude. Everyone is just like all of America's wealthiest capital owners are sitting around biting their nails at the whims of seemingly a madman. It's awesome. Oh, he's not serious, you guys. He was just memeing. He was just joking. I think, right? You're joking, right? It's hard. It's hard for me not to look at this and laugh a little bit. I mean, it's sad because, as I've said time and time again, in the stock market, the gains are privatized and the losses are socialized. So when the stock market is up, you're not going to feel it, but when it's down, you certainly will feel it, right? And it is down, or it's been down for sure. So I have chatters talking about how like their 401ks are just like getting gutted in the process. My crypto bros cope by saying volatility is vitality. I am seeing a lot of crypto bros saying the exact opposite because the crypto markets are crashing too. Like universities and law firms, CEOs stay quiet amid fear of getting crossed with Trump as trillions in new tariffs come out. Some see little upside in objecting even privately. What good would it do if they said anything, said Mark Cuban. I've seen a lot of them saying it's a good thing because there's a fire sale. Yeah, they're stupid. I mean, they're in crypto anyway, so they're stupid regardless. The crypto bros cope is that this will crash the dollar and everyone will move to crypto is the dumbest argument that anyone could ever make. Because at the end of the day, one, you're living in America. If the dollar crashes, the entire global marketplace collapses. What are you talking about? And it will also crash crypto as it is doing currently. So what the fuck are you talking about? Everything is tied to the dollar. People are so dumb. What? This is a thing that I will never understand as well. Like Trump makes like these little schemes and grifts on the side for cryptocurrency millionaires and whatever. And that's one thing. But why in the ever-loving fuck would an American leadership destroy the global petrodollar, the global currency, which is perhaps the most significant factor in America's global dominance? Why would they do that? Baba biraz sesini kız. Çok bağırıyor. Baba? Peki. Bitcoin is up 80. Bitcoin is at 86K and is up today. Wait, are you anti-Bitcoin? Bitcoin is literally up today. Yes, I'm anti-cryptocurrency. I've always been anti-cryptocurrency. I will continue being anti-cryptocurrency. Welcome to the broadcast. I am anti-cryptocurrency. I hope that's not offensive to you.
Sachs is predicting now with the tariffs, there's a 35% chance of a recession.
That has been put out there.
Oh my God. Why do I have so many? BTC still up 85K. What are you talking about? We've been hearing the haters on BTC for over a decade now, but what is the value at now? He doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh my God. Have fun, dude. Have fun. Okay. You're going to the moon. You're going to the moon, dude.
I think also the impact of a recession on other countries would be more difficult. For instance, with Canada, it will be harder for them to pull out of a recession, which is a big concern for them.
BTC is literally down, was up 125K before Trump, so I don't know what these chatters are saying. No, that's just normal. That's normal, dude. You don't understand. That's normal. It's going to go to the moon again. It'll shoot back up. Yeah, the tulip prices have been increasing for a decade. No way they will go down. How the fuck are you a crypto leftist? I don't know. I don't know how that works, but honestly, more power to you guys, okay?